All right, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you might be on this Wednesday. We're glad to see so many people joining us for this toolbox. And if we could just ask you to mute yourself, and then you can unmute when you go into breakout rooms and if you have a question later. But we just would like everybody to mute themselves so that everybody can hear and get the information that's needed. So if you can, change your name so it has your name and the state, province, or nation in which you live. If you can't, that's okay. You can just connect with people and tell them verbally so that they can know your name. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank, these are the committee members from the International Membership Committee that are finishing up their term in service this summer. And so from the Gulf, we have Miney and Barbara, the North Central, Anne and Valerie, Northeast, Gay and Gina, Northwest, Virginia and Nancy, South Central, Carol and Betsy, Southeast, Laura and Julie, and the Southwest, Judy and Nancy. So I am Kathy Beatty, and I am the International Vice President for Membership, and the headquarters liaison who is supporting us this evening and supports IMC is Phyllis Robinette. So we are going to talk about the new chapter needs assessments and the new state, province, and nation needs assessments for the next biennium. But we wanted to remind you first that there are reflections from this past biennium that are due May 15th. So in 2024, chapters and SPNs wrote goals for the biennium. And this spring is when we ask chapters to reflect with all their chapter members and then complete the CNA reflection forum. And then same SPN teams, we ask you to reflect on your goals from the past 2 years and complete the JOT form as well. We'll show you a little bit later where you can find those if you're not sure where those are. We wanted to just clarify that is sort of the end of the 2026 biennium and the reflection on the goals.
Can you tell me how to change my iPad 4th generation to my name? I've always had trouble figuring that out.
That's okay. You don't have to worry about it right now. That's fine. So we have chapter leaders here, and we have state, province, and nation leaders here as well. And we're going to talk about the SPN needs assessment first. The SPN needs assessment for the 2026-2028 biennium will be due by November 15th. And we're going to take a minute and listen to Simon Sinek talk about the purpose of setting goals. And so he is going to talk sort of about the business world. And when he's talking about what is our purpose, think about in your chapter or your SPN, what might be your goals.
Purpose is always idealized, right? Like, as I said before, I imagine a world in which, right? I know I'm not going to get there. Like when Martin Luther King said, I have a dream, like one day little black children will hold hands on the playground with little white children, right? Like all of these things, they're all strivings. And the milestones that we pass make us feel like we're making progress. And that's why metrics are really important and milestones are really important. And the most important thing is context. There's nothing wrong with quarterly numbers or annual numbers. The only question I would ask is, to what end? To what end? Like, you know, I was talking to a young entrepreneur last night, and she's looking for investment. And one of her potential investors said, how long is it going to take you to hit $100 million revenues? And I said, don't take that person's investment. Show me one article, one. I just need one. Show me one article in HBR, one study, I don't care, that demonstrates that hypergrowth or high-speed growth is good for the company on any level. The answer is there are none. The pressure comes from that person trying to achieve their financial goals. So they put pressure on you to make your short-term goals, right? And so And so there's nothing wrong with goals as long as we understand the context and the purpose of that goal, right? I like to think of money like fuel, right? And a car is the company, and the purpose is the destination, right? And if money is fuel, it makes the car go. You absolutely have to have money to make the company go. There is no dreaming big if you have no fuel. You can have the most beautiful car in the world, and yet if you got no fuel, it's pointless. But we don't own a car to buy fuel, right? We don't have companies simply for the money, right? It's the destination. You want to be able to go somewhere. And the passengers are the employees, and they're excited, not about the fuel in the car. How much fuel do we have? No one gets excited by that. We get excited where we're going. We're going to Alaska. Are we near? And that's the analogy. And when there's a roadblock, if you're only driven by the metrics, then the way we think about money, the way we think about corporate goals is the same way we think about our goal is to drive 200 miles a day. Our goal is to make X amount of money, right? That's how we think about it. Well, what happens if you drive 150 miles? Is that a problem? What happens if there's a roadblock? Do you know what to do? You start freaking out and panicking because you're going to miss your numbers. Where purpose-driven companies that know their destinations in the idealized state, they take detours. And to the outside world, it looks like you're going sideways or slowly, but you know you're just going around. And that's how companies actually look. You know, it's circuitous and messy. And purpose helps us keep focused on the very far distant future, so we know we're going in the right vector, even if somebody can't tell we're going in the right direction. And so people have to understand the purpose of the goals you're setting and how they're contributing to something. And start talking, like,
So as he's talking about setting goals, I want you to think about the chapter needs to know the purpose of the goals that you're setting, and they need to be aligned with it. And your SPN teams, same thing, need to know the purpose of the goals that you're setting and be aligned with it. And so in thinking about our new strategic plan, which just came out recently, it is from 2026 to 2029, and it starts in this June. And so the CNA and the SPN needs assessments are aligned with that new strategic plan. So we wanted to make sure that you are aware of how this document, the strategic plan, is aligned with the needs assessments. So the first goal in the strategic plan is leadership development, and it's to strengthen the organization's leadership capacity. So for SPNs, you need to think about it's to strengthen the SPN's leadership capacity. So for the needs assessment, the SPN will respond to this question: what is your SPN's goal to encourage and nurture current and future leaders of your SPN and chapters within your SPN? Goal 2 of the strategic plan is member engagement. And that is to maximize communication, commitment, and collaboration to enhance member sustainability. So the question that SPNs will respond to under this goal is, what is your SPN's goal to communicate and ensure all of your members are actively engaged in the SPN and chapter activities, and or in collaborating with other SPNs or chapters for activities or community projects? So this is twofold. One is getting members engaged in SPN and chapter activities, and the other is how to collaborate. And that's encouraging SPNs to work with another SPN on a project or for a presentation or something, as well as encouraging chapters to have activities or community projects together. And the third goal for the strategic plan is member-focused initiatives. And that is to enhance the value of membership by prioritizing the needs, experiences, and accomplishments of members. So the question there will be, what is your SPN's goal to continue to be member-focused, bring in new members, and engage all members? So there are 3 goals and 1 question for each of the goals to help align with the strategic plan and to continue our organization to move forward.
Mo, updated winds are 240 at 10. We own the airfield and airspace. You are clear for takeoff. Have a good one. Thanks, Mo. Clear for takeoff. Hello's ready to go, boss. Boss, we're cleared for takeoff. The wind 240 at 10 is our wind crosswind. Check your parking brake off. Check your jet set. Check your nose steering on. Maneuver, diamond, navigation. Okay. 7 after 9. Let's roll. Let's roll. Check your parking brake off, check your jet set, check your nose steering on, maneuver, diamond, navigation. Okay. 7 after 9, let's roll. Let's roll.
So as part of that video, they had a couple different phrases that I just want to make sure to point out to everybody. So the first one is the Blue Angels build every show around a center point in their team around shared values. And how this relates to Alpha Delta Kappa is take time with your team to determine what your shared values are. So at the chapter level, what is your chapter value? And as your SPN teams, what does your SPN team value? The video also said team must align with its purpose, mission, and actions. And as you create goals for Alpha Delta Kappa, we want to keep the mission, vision, and purposes of Alpha Delta Kappa in the forefront of our work. And as we are making decisions for what goals we might use for this next biennium. The video also talked about synergy happens when qualified people align on a common objective. So the goals of the SPN cannot be just the goals of the president, just like the goals of a chapter cannot be just the goals of the president. Each member has a role in the team's success. So all members of the executive board or leadership team at the SPN level and at your chapter level, all the members of the chapter all have a role in helping you to meet your goals. So you want to make sure that when you're crafting your goals, that it is something that you've talked about, it is something that you all agree on, so that everybody can be a part and help to reach the goals by the end of the biennium. So we're going to go into breakout rooms, and if you just share your name, your state, province, or nation, and your role. And if you are an SPN leader, think about how will your executive board or leadership team reflect and come to consensus around your SPN goals. What goals are you considering proposing? And how might you share these goals with chapters and members? And if you're a chapter leader, you can think about how will you, as the leadership of your chapters, come to consensus around your goals? What are you considering? The goals are very similar. And how will you share it with the members within your chapter? So we're going to go to breakout rooms, and hopefully on your screen you see an invite to join a breakout room.
No.
All right, if you would go ahead and mute yourselves again, that would be helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
President.
Chapter.
If you could mute yourself, that'd be great.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for coming back from the breakout rooms. We hope you had some good discussions and conversations about the needs assessments. And I had shown you just the SPN needs assessment. So we're going to talk just quickly about the chapter needs assessments. And if there's questions, we'll take those at the end. So the chapter needs assessments, those are due October 15th. So again, these are the goals for the chapter for the 2026-2028 biennium. And again, it's aligned with the strategic plan. The goal of the strategic plan, the goals, same goals. So first one, leadership development. And that question, very similar. And what is your chapter's goal? To encourage and nurture current and future leaders of the SPN and chapters within your chapter. So how are you nurturing and encouraging leaders in your chapter? The second goal of the strategic plan is member engagement. And that question is, what is your chapter's goal to communicate and ensure all of your members are actively engaged in chapter activities? And you could choose to do the other part, which is, what is your chapter's goal in collaborating with other chapters for activities or community projects? And then goal 3 of the strategic plan is member-focused initiatives. And that question is, what is your chapter's goal to continue to be member-focused, bring in new members, and engage all members in your chapter? So one thing we want the SPN leaders to think about is, how will you support chapters throughout the biennium to set and achieve their goals? And so in thinking about, we have new leaders, We have done goals for a couple biennium, but this is the first time these leaders have made goals for their chapters. And so as an SPN team, we want you to consider how you will educate chapter leaders around the goals and how you will support them throughout the biennium to achieve their goals and provide resources that they might need, and any help they might need. But we also want you to celebrate with them along the way and check in with them to see how things are going and to celebrate the small goals that they meet or the little parts of the goals that they meet along the way, because that's just as important as it is to reflect on what we're doing with our goals. So there's two different things we want to talk about as far as the calendar coming up. So for the SPNs, as we talked about at the beginning, May 15th, the SPN needs assessment is due for the 24-26 reflections. As a reminder, the dues for new members that register online as a new member from September 1 through December, their dues take them through the next year. And we've had several people ask if that is still continuing, and it is. So we wanted to make sure everybody knew about that. And then November 15th is when the 2026-2028 SPN needs assessment is due. And where you find all that information, for those of you that are new SPN leaders, is on the resource library, and you go to SPN officers, and then over to the right where it says SPN documents and forms, and then go down to the bottom and either expand that column or you can go to the next page and you will see a folder that says SPN needs assessment with information inside. And then for chapters, the calendar, May 15th, the CNA reflections for the 24-26 goals are due. June 30th is the H114, which is the summary of your year for IRS benefits. And that is another thing that would be great to reflect with your chapter on. And the other piece to reflect with your chapter is the Distinguished Program Recognition. If, as you are sort of ending your year in the biennium, if you reflect on how did things go this biennium, did we meet our goals, and looking at the H114, you can look at how things went throughout the year. What types of programs did you have? What was our attendance like? What are your strengths from your chapter? And thinking about the programs, which one program might we want to submit for the DPR? And so if you could do all of that reflection with your chapter members and get these three different things done all at the same time, and that way you're getting all the chapter members on board with reflecting and then helping to start to plan for the next year. So again, any new members after September 1st, their dues will go through next December. And where you find the chapter needs assessment information for 26-28 is on the resource library under the chapter officers tab, and then chapter documents and forms. And I'm gonna just pull that up real quick to show you where you can find it. So make sure you're logged in, go to the resource library. If you're a chapter officer, you click that. And when you come down here on the right, you will see chapter needs assessment on the right-hand side. And then down further, you'll see the H114, a summary form. That's the submission form, and then a sample. So if you'd like to take a look at what the questions are, you could print it or take a look at it before you're completing it. So when you click on the chapter needs assessment, you'll see folders. So if the chapter has not done the reflection, that's this folder where it says chapter reflection, May 2026. And the new CNAs they're in this folder, which are due by October. So when you click on that, you have the timeline for the CNA for the biennium, so you can see what's going to happen throughout the biennium with your goals. This is your jot form link, and then this is a sample. So just like the H114, you can print this sample or just take a look at it so you know what the questions are before you are filling out the form. And when you fill out the form, you just have to click on another link on this page. And once you go to that, it'll take you to your jot form.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can the chapter start their goals before they've seen the provincial goals?
So you can start to talk about what you want to do for your goals. And then if you wanted to compare it with the state, province, or nation goals, then you can do that also. It's not due till October. So it's not something you need to do right now. It's just something you want to start to reflect on and think about what your chapter might want to work on. And then you could see what those goals are.
They should align with the provincial ones, though.
They could also just be what is best for your chapter and what your chapter should work on.
Great, thank you.
So then just to show you for the SPN, just so for those of you, especially that are new SPN leaders, when you go to the SPN tab, what I was talking about before is you have to come all the way down here and you either go to page 2 or you hit show all 24. And then you'll see the SPN needs assessment at the end. And the same thing as the chapter needs assessment, this is the reflection, and this is the new goals that are due in November. All right, and then the last thing to share with you is the distinguished program submissions, and this is in a little bit different place. So I took a screenshot so that when you look at this later, it might trigger where it is, but just to show you where that is, if you go on the website, you're going to come up here to membership and down to awards and recognitions. And when you scroll down, some buttons will appear, and here's the distinguished program recognition. And there's the guidelines, the submission score sheet, the purpose, and this link right here is the distinguished program application. And that's where you will submit the program from your chapter. So we're going to watch one last video, and then if there are other questions. So in thinking about membership is the role of everyone on the team. So as we talked about for your chapter goals, make sure everybody is involved in the creating and the implementation of your goals, and everyone has a role. And as your SPN teams, your entire team, whether it's the executive board, the leadership team, all have a role in these goals for leadership and for membership that align with our strategic plan. And so, as this video said, together we can do so much more, and together we can help to reach our goals. And just thinking about your goals, one thing that I forgot to say earlier is you want to make a goal that's a little bit of a strive and a stretch for your chapter or for your SPN. If your chapter is really, really good at collecting things at your meetings, don't say a goal is we're going to collect things at our meetings. Maybe think of what is something a little bit new or a little bit different that may want to try. Or if you collect 50 things at a meeting, maybe we're going to collect 55 things at a meeting. So what can be a little bit of a stretch so that we can continue to move our chapters forward, we can continue to make more of an impact, and we can continue to support each other and our communities. So we just want to remind you the next toolbox is May 27th, and that is for the treasurer's fiscal year end, and more details will be coming soon. We just wanted to make sure that that was on everybody's radar. And we want to thank you for coming. Thank you for your time, for your leadership and service in Alpha Delta Kappa. And I'll stop sharing in case there are any questions or any comments that anybody might have.
What was the date of the treasurer's meeting?
May 27th.
Okay. Do you have a time?
It's 6 p.m. Central.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question on the date.
Yep.
Why are they
Go ahead,
always
Donna.
on Wednesday nights? Wednesday nights. We have people that can't come to anything on Wednesday night because it's a church night. I guess
Okay.
that's just
We've tried
It's a
to
problem.
mix them up a little bit, but these two do happen to be on a Wednesday,
two
so
happen to
we'll
be on
definitely
Wednesday.
keep that in mind.
That's why I'm here, because I'm on vacation.
Well, we're glad you're here. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I have one thing to share that might for the group that
Sure.
for the good of the group. Last year and the year before, we tried to integrate the report writing into this chapter schedules, and we gave them a lot of input about how to do that. And so now we have it in the May meeting that certain things will be done, and in the June meeting and in the September meeting, and that has helped us avoid that. Oh, we haven't done that yet, and then of course you don't get the same kind of thinking. So that's been helpful to us in Ontario. And Jennifer, I'll answer your question and send you an email after the meeting.
Thank you, Mark, for sharing that. Yeah, it's great if we can just sort of plan in your last two meetings of the year, whether it's April and May and June, to do these reflections. And if it's part of just the schedule that your chapter does, that definitely helps set you up for success as you're going into the next year or the next biennium. Thank you for sharing that.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Camille.
Debbie. How do you
get
this? If this is recorded, I will be out of the country May 27th. How do you find the recording of the meeting?
Phyllis, will they be posted?
So for the treasurer one, it will be put into the Connect community that has the treasurers in it. It has state SPN leaders and treasurers in that. So that's where we'll put it on Connect.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Deb?
Some of us don't know.
I have a question.
Hold on one second. Deb, go ahead.
Some of us don't know or don't, how shall we say, connect in with Connect that frequently. I know that we need to now because everything's going to the Connect. Is there any way to, I guess there's a tutorial for Connect, isn't there?
There are some tutorials.
Okay.
And And feel free to always reach out at headquarters. We can walk you through how to just initially get into Connect. And then anybody is Ginger Green here to speak? She's in charge of the
I
Connect
think
group.
Mary I is here. I thought I saw her.
Yeah.
I'm on that committee, and I can tell you that every region has trainers. Oh, there is Mary. I'll let you take over.
As Mark said, we do have trainers in each of the regions. Michelle from West Virginia, no, from Virginia is a trainer, but we can hook you up with that. But we also, because we just transitioned to the new Thrive community, we're updating the tutorials and we will be getting those out for you. We'll put some in the international news and make sure that your trainers and your SBM presidents know how to access those. And it'll be much easier for you to be able to navigate the Connect community. And we'll put those information, we'll tag them and have them right up front so that you have that.
Good. Thank you.
How do we watch the video, or how do we watch tonight's meeting? I missed the first video totally.
I don't know where we're going to put this one, and I know that's not very helpful, but Kathy, do you have a suggestion?
Yeah, we'll probably put it in the I can share it out with in Connect, and then which you'll get an email for it when it's posted there, and then we can also put it in the video resources on the website.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I have a question.
Yep.
In regards to these SPN date being not until November 15th, where the uh, chapter needs assessment is due by October 15th, because I see my chapter membership chair and her sharing what the chapter is going to be looking at for those of us in that SPN working together towards that state goal as well as our own chapter goal. I think it would be valuable to have their SPN goals ahead of even forming my own chapter goals. But
so we want chapters. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
We want chapters to make.
Go ahead.
We want chapters to make goals that are what works best for their chapters. It could be that they align with the SPN, and it might be that they want to work on something a little bit different under each goal. So we want the chapters to have the flexibility to work on what's best for them. And the reason that the SPN's goals are due later is then they can take a look at what the chapters have done and see how they might align their goals to support what they can see that the chapters are doing. So there's benefits in doing it both ways, and it's something we can definitely think about in the future. But that's the reason for the timing as the way it is now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Oh, I have a question on the program awards recognition. In the past, it had been where part dealt with the percentage of members that attended the meeting. Is that still in that award? And also, if it is, when you have members that maybe are limited members or due of illness, it cuts down your percentage of those that are attending the meeting. So
it does. The limited members aren't. It's just of your active members, not the limited members. And we also understand that there are just reasons, weather or illness or things like that, or conflicts that not everybody can attend. But it is still part of the assessment.
Okay, thank you.
Kathy, can I make a suggestion about membership chairs who fill out the CNA, that when you fill out the JOT form, you write down the date of when you did it, because on the H114, it asks for the date of when you submitted that. And luckily I had written it down. Otherwise, I guess I could have just lied and said 10/15, but I did do it early. And I didn't know I was going to need to have that date at hand to fill help my president fill out the H-114. Does that make sense?
I think you're referring to, have you submitted your financial forms and your 990s?
No, it said date of the CNA is on, there are like 5 questions. Lisa, that's what she told me. She sent me 5 questions that she had summarized and okay.
Yeah, I don't believe that that's part of the H-114, so we would just have to, I think it's just a different
I
different
don't
questions that
know.
you
She
have.
just gave me 3 questions she needed me to give input on.
Yeah.
So, okay, all
Okay.
right.
Thank you.
You're
Kathy
welcome.
When you were talking about this, you said all members should have a role and be involved in the goals. It made me think for my own chapter, maybe we need to revise some of our chapter committees that would be more aligned with the new, our chapter committees have been around forever. Maybe we need to revise some of those that match better the strategic plan. Just a thought. I'm going to ponder that as we move forward. Thank you.
That's a great pondering. And I'd love to hear what your chapter comes up with or what you come up with around that, because you definitely have flexibility in what committees would work best for your chapter. So that's a great thought. Anyone else? All right. Well, we appreciate your time. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can also reach out to a current IMC member, and then starting in July, you can reach out to the new IMC members. But thank you very much, everybody, and we hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, Kathy.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank